Morning, my friends. I'm Pastor Ben Hayes from First Baptist Church, Dadeville, Alabama. I'm bringing you the thought for the day. If I can talk this morning, you'll notice I'm wearing my chaplain's outfit today. I'm going to training here in just a little bit, but we're talking about the war of Gog and Magog, and that the reason I'm talking about this is because of the alliances we're seeing forming right now in Europe between Russia and some other countries. And this war of Gog and Magog is interesting because it's going to happen at some point in the future. I told you yesterday about all these prophecies that were made in the Old Testament that have come true, some that are still remaining to be fulfilled. And the war of Gog and Magog is one of those. It's found in Ezekiel chapter 36, 37, 38, 39. And we've talked about Gog being the leader, the ruler of this land called Magog. And Magog, of course, is in the area of Russia, the former Soviet Republic. Ezekiel 38:15 says that Gog will come from your place out of the remote parts of the north. 39:2 says Gog will come from the remotest parts of the north and come against the mountains of Israel. And the country that is farthest to the north in relation to Israel is Russia. So we can determine that a Russian dictator, all right, this is my understanding, will build a diplomatic and military coalition that's going to surround and attack the state of Israel in the end times, just prior to the rapture or right after the rapture takes place. And the question then is, what other countries will be part of that coalition? And that's what I want us to focus on this morning for just a few moments. In Ezekiel 38:5, we learned that the first ally of Russia that they'll have is Persia. Now, until 1935, of course, Persia was the legal name of the country that we know today as Iran. So we know that Russia and Iran will build an alliance in the last days to attack Israel. All right? With me so far? Then Ezekiel tells us that another country in that alliance will be what many English Bibles translate as Ethiopia. The Hebrew word, however, is Cush, and Cush is the Upper Nile region that we now know as Sudan. While the current state of Ethiopia may also be involved in the war, the focus is really Sudan, which of course today is a radical Islamic Sunni state, and they are closely allied with Iran and Russia, deeply anti-Semitic, deeply anti-Israel. So you with me so far? All right. Next, Ezekiel says the nation called Put will be a part of the alliance. Josephus identifies Put as ancient Libyos, the territory that today we call Libya and Algeria. Now, interestingly, both countries today are deeply hostile to Israel, and they are closely allied with Russia. So again, we see this conglomeration of nations coming together. The next country mentioned is Gomer. Now, when you do the historical detective work, what you find out is that Gomer is what we now call Turkey, or as they want to be called, Turkey. For much of the past 80 years, this didn't make sense. Turkey, why would they turn against Israel? They were friends with Israel for a while. Turkey was a NATO ally, is a NATO ally, with the U.S. and the European Union all, combined together. But in the last few years, the Turkish government has swung dramatically away from the United States, from the Western countries. They've swung towards Russia and Iran, and they've become deeply hostile towards the state of Israel. So Turkey is part of this. The next country is Beth Togarmah. This is the Turkic-speaking peoples that spread out from Turkey across the Caucasus and across Central Asia. And we can't be certain precisely what modern nations from this area will join this alliance, because these are almost all Muslim countries, and they all have close links to Russia and Iran. And interestingly, here, I'll throw out Egypt is not mentioned by Ezekiel as part of the Russian-Iranian alliance against Israel. This is interesting to me because Egypt has been such an historic enemy of Israel and the Jewish people. That said, perhaps Egypt's non-involvement in the war of Gog and Magog could be explained by the peace treaty that was signed back in 1979. And even though it's held, this treaty is in danger of unraveling. But still, Egypt is not really equipped to threaten Israel in any way at this point. Iraq, whether under its biblical name of Babylon, or Babylonia, Shinar, or even Mesopotamia, it isn't mentioned in the prophecy either, but it too is an historic enemy of Israel. And I think that probably Iraq will not be a threat to Israel in the near term. Syria and Lebanon are also not mentioned by name in the prophecy, but Ezekiel tells us repeatedly that the main military force that will be coming against Israel will be coming from the north, which means that they will be coming through Lebanon and Syria. Now, that's enough for today because that's a lot to think about. Now, you'll notice there is one nation that I haven't mentioned, and that is China. China's involved in this alliance today. We'll be talking about that more in the days ahead, but focus on that. Look at those chapters again. Try to look at a map and put this all together. Watch this a couple of times. Share it with your friends. And let's be ready for what's coming. And I believe it's coming soon. Be blessed today. I'll talk to you soon.